It was interesting. I was doing great things in my career. I had all of these wonderful things going on, but nobody cared because everybody was so laser focused on the fact that I wasn't married and I didn't have children. And then they would talk to me like, they do the head tilt. I'm like worried about you. And I'm like, I'm not dying. I'm just single. Why is everybody talking to me like this?
Hi, I'm Tracy.
And I'm Jessica, and this is She's on Top.
If you haven't done so already, please subscribe and remember to hit on that bell button. That way you'll get notice of all of our videos. Today, we're hanging out with Andrea Bain, author of the book turned podcast, Single Girl Problems.
This is a really special interview for me because years ago when I was working in television, Andrea hosted a show I directed called Shotgun Reno. We remained friends on Facebook and I followed her amazing career. So when I reached out to her and asked her to be on our show, I was thrilled when she agreed to share her journey.
Andrea has worked for many years as a TV host and entertainment reporter, interviewing A-list celebrities like Gosling and Oprah Winfrey. And most recently as a co-host on CBC's The Goods, talking about sex and relationships. Last summer, she launched her book, Single Girl Problems. It was so successful that she decided to turn it into a podcast. 3 months later, she was nominated for a Canadian Podcasting Award.
This is a fearless female who has a lot to teach us about what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur.
I've been working in television probably for like 17 years. For the first part of my career, the first half, I was so nervous. I knew I wanted to be on air, but I didn't have the guts to say so. I also, going back to, things have changed quite a bit for Black women. I didn't see a lot of examples of Black women on TV in Canada, so I didn't think that I could get that job. And then one day I was working at a job and I was absolutely miserable. And I decided, you know what? At this point, I have nothing to lose. I'm young. Let's just do it because you want to be on air, say it out loud, say what you want to do. And once I made that turn, I never looked back. And it's been fantastic. And I'm so glad I made that change. First of all, I'm not an expert. TV has a way of always wanting to give people labels. I love this. It's like, oh, you're an expert. It's like, you talk about this. But I guess there's no really cute way to say that, so they call you an expert. And to me, it's also to say relationship expert is an oxymoron. So a relationship expert is somebody who has mastered relationships and is perfect at it. Please introduce me to that person. They don't exist. This whole single girl thing is so funny because while I was working in television, and just enjoying my life and traveling and interviewing great people, my personal life, you kind of suffers in TV because you don't have a lot of time. It's all over the place. Not that people aren't married, but I just found that all of my friends all of a sudden were married and having kids, and it's like I didn't get the memo. I'm like, I'm sorry, when do we all pair off and start giving people a hard time about not being paired off? So then in my 20s, it makes you very insecure because everybody's kind of, talking about it, and every conversation I had post 28, 29 years old was like, so when are you gonna get married? And I was like, I didn't know that it was something that I had to do now. Being single, people just think it's just one thing, it's a singular thing, but it affects you in so many different ways. It affects the way you get treated at work. It affects the way that you communicate with your family. It affects the way your self-esteem. You're carrying all this baggage from the way your parents were in their household or your guardians, whoever raised you, and you bring that to your relationships, and that could be the reason why a lot of people are single. And then there are the people who just aren't interested in the traditional getting married, having 2 kids, picket fence. So there were lots of different angles that I was aware of that I felt like people weren't aware of, because I knew that because of the way people always spoke to me in this one way of just kind of, the head tilt. You're still single, poor you. Well, the reason why everybody is obsessed with women being single is because in every culture, in almost every country around the world, a woman's ability to get married and have children is connected to her worth as a person. So if you are past a certain age, depending on different cultures have different ages, and you are not married and you do not have children, people see you as worthless. They see you as a problem. They see you as, well, what's wrong with you? Why hasn't a man come along and put a ring on your finger and impregnated you? What is going on? Because that is all everybody knows from the beginning of time. Remember, women were property at one point. These were deals were made that, your father had a daughter and he would, promise you to marry somebody else in another village so that you could keep a lineage going. Like, this is a history of women. We are property. So of course that's still really deep within a lot of people, and they don't even realize it the way they talk to women. It's kind of sad. Oh no, I don't think married women are happier at all. And it's so funny. There was a study that actually they did in Germany, and they studied thousands of people, single and married, and before that study, everybody thought that, of course, married people are happier. They live longer. And they'd be like, science says if you're married, you'll live longer. And it's like, great, we're all gonna die off, all as single ladies. And then they did this great research in Germany, and it's like, no, it's all garbage. People can be just as happy single as they can be married. I think it's important, and I say this all the time, be comfortable in your own skin and find your self-love. This being single is a gift. It is a time to figure out who you are, what you want, where you're going, because that is what makes you alluring to people. You know what, again, you know what I think, and I'm gonna attribute this to being single. There is a fearlessness that I have about things that I really wanna do, that I think I got probably in my 30s when I just learned to just own who I am and what I want to do. So when I came up with the idea to write a book, I wasn't looking for anybody. I didn't care if just my mom read it. I just wanted to do it, so I did it. And I took the steps. The podcast, the same thing. I came up with a podcast, approached 2 companies. They both said yes. I went with the one that had the best deal. And I learned to negotiate for myself to make sure that I had a great deal. So none of these things were, things that people told me that I should do. These are things that I really wanted to do. But I've also had the pleasure of having a lot of time on my own to develop who I am, to know who I am, to build that confidence so that I go forward instead of having that, listening to that little voice is like, ooh, should you? Are you good enough for that? I got rid of that. And that's all of these wonderful things have been happening ever since I got rid of that insecurity. I've interviewed a lot of entrepreneurs, and the one thing I learned from them is they never have one stream of income. They have at least 5 to 7. And in this day and age where people don't, work at one company for 30 to 40 years, you have to think of yourself as an entrepreneur, even if you have a career. So figure out what your other interests are. You're not one thing. So create those other avenues that can create income for you. And that's where you get to tap into your different skills. Even that thing that you think is nothing. Maybe it's just knitting. Maybe it's just something else that you never even thought of making money. We're in this time where you can create that avenue and create work for yourself. So that's what advice that I would give any young single or married woman.
Oprah has a quote that I've always loved, which is, you get in life what you have the courage to ask for. To me, Andrea embodies this.
Yes, I am so impressed with how fearless she is. It seems over and over again that the key to success is just go out there and do it.
Let us know in the comments below what the fears that are maybe holding you guys back from reaching your goals.
And as always, please subscribe, and if you like this video, give us a thumbs up.
See you next time.